Good morning and welcome to Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition on 92.9 KVRE, online at kvre.com and on iHeartRadio. He's Tracy Simpson. I'm Mark Oliver. Tracy, it's January, and that means that youth baseball is right around the corner. Registration for Majestic Park's Youth Baseball League begins today and runs now through February 12th. Here to tell us more about what projects to be an exciting 2026 season is Majestic Park General Manager Derek Phillips. Derek, good morning. Thanks for making time for us this week.
Oh, thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. We love to talk about everything that's going on at Majestic Park, and right now it's about registering for baseball. Youth League, our fifth season at Majestic Park. Can you believe that? Registration's opening today, and we're excited about another great season.
And of course, this is a program that just continues to grow. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I think back in like 2022 or so, the first year, just a little over 500 children. And then last year, breaking records with more than 800. And what do those numbers project to look like this year? What has the interest level been as, word continues to spread from around the county and really deeper into central Arkansas that this really does feel like the premier place to not only play baseball once you're established, but also to get started and learn the game as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think people just love playing there. It's such a beautiful park, and we really work hard to keep it clean and presentable and do a great job with, our hospitality there, and I think it shows. And so, we've had over 800 kids the last 2 years, which is amazing, and I expect to stay there, grow a little bit more. It's you never really know for sure, but we've had a lot of interest from not only kids right inside the city limits in the county, but then some of the surrounding towns like Center Point and Mountain Pine and Mount Ida and Magnet Cove. Those schools and towns are all, dying to get in there too with their youth kids and their high school teams.
Derek, I'm going to tell you what also, what I found interesting over the Christmas break and such like that, my nephew from the Benton area, Saline County area, he was already questioning me on upcoming tournaments. And of course, we know what Saline County, Benton and Bryant, we know what but he's already questioning me on tournaments coming up that he wants to come back and play at Majestic Park. So that just tells you the whereabouts and where you guys have grown and what's going on. But congratulations to you on that. And then, of course, and then his little friend that was with him, we've got one that's going to register, and he's coming from Malvern over this way. So the numbers are unbelievable, and now the growth chart is just as big, I think.
Absolutely. For tournaments, you can go to our website at majesticpark.org. There's a tournament schedule tab on there, and you can see all the upcoming tournaments, whether it's youth tournaments, baseball or softball, high school or college. We've got an amazing schedule laid out. We don't have a weekend off until mid-July again, starting in late February. And it's like I said, it's a little bit of everything. 7 or 8 youth baseball tournaments, a handful of girls fast pitch tournaments, high school tournaments, and college tournaments. We've got a college tournament coming up really soon, January 30th. It's our 5th annual Dugan Invitational. Very excited about that. Yep. I've got 4 new college teams coming in: Pittsburgh State, Southwest Baptist, Fort Hays, and Oklahoma Baptist will be joining some of our other regular teams like HSU and OBU and SAU. Really excited about that. And you can see all the tournaments in there if you're interested on the Majestic Park website, majesticpark.org.
Of course, everything continues to grow. You say something for everyone. That applies to this youth baseball league as well. You begin as early as ages 3 and 4 with T-ball. And of course, over the past, I guess it's the 3rd season now. We started with T-ball with Majestic Park in my household just a couple years ago. Kids absolutely loved it. And even though we were like the only Mountain Pine kids on the team at the time, now we've got friends that we still hang out with and converse with regularly from Lake Hamilton and Fountain Lake, and a lot of them from Lakeside as well. Some of them from even outside of Garland County. So it's a cool opportunity for kids to come in and make some friends and really those friendships kind of lingering and continuing on as they move up through the leagues. But Derek, for the families of first-time players out there that are probably just now learning, wow, I can start as low as 3 and 4 years old, 5 and 6 years old. Yes, you can. Tell us about some of the ways that Majestic Park supports those first-time players and help develop that early love for the game.
Well, we started playing in 2022, and in 2024 we started our Yo Ball, which is our 3 and 4 year old T-ball. It's a very developmental league, and it was just to get the kids out there and kind of learn the very basics, and honestly, in my opinion, have a good time and play with other kids. So that's kind of how we get started with the development there, and we try to have camps with our local colleges as well as the Arkansas Travelers, and so we really try to do more than just play games. We try to do some development. We have some tools on our website. Kids like to watch videos. There's videos on our website for the basics of kids that want to watch that and see which direction to run when they're that age. You know, that's some of the things they're learning in that 3 and 4 year old league. It's a lot of fun. And I appreciate you saying that, what you said about playing with people from different schools in different areas. That's one of the things we pride ourselves on as a league, bringing the community together and kids from this school and that school playing together and making friends. That's a big part of our mission with our league. I'm glad you said that. I like to hear that.
And of course, you know, you're averaging between 800 and 900 kids each season. It continues to grow, and this can't be successful without a lot of volunteer help. We all know that. There's numerous volunteer and, of course, coaching opportunities for the community as well. How can people get involved?
I'm glad you said that too. You know, when you have 800 plus kids, it means you have about 80 teams. So you need 80 managers, and each team needs a couple of assistants. So when you go to register, there's a place on there that says, would you like to coach or assistant coach? Coaches are a crucial part for a successful season, and we need people that are interested in coaching. A lot of people think they don't have the experience in baseball or they don't have the time to do it. Every team has at least 3. Some have 4 coaches on a team total. We need good people that want to teach the kids to have a good time and some of the basics, and we help any way we can, either hands-on or with, you know, giving them information about certain ways to practice. We will help any way we can, but it takes a lot of people to have an 80-team league as far as volunteers and coaches go. So when you register your kids, you can put that on there, or you can, anybody listening, you can call or text me anytime at 501-359-2414, and I'll do anything I can to help you, you know, if you want to be a coach.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up, because if you've got, you don't necessarily have to have a love for the game. You know, just to be out there, and I'm going to reiterate what Mark was talking about a while ago is that, look, if you want to just get out and do something, a lot of retirees out there that grew up maybe playing baseball or something, look, the game is still the same. I mean, I know there's a few rules changed, but the bottom line is knowing and growing. And having fun out there and showing your experiences and what you can do to help out with these young girls and boys. And that's what it's all about, is getting out there and enjoying the experience. And it doesn't matter, like you said, Derek, it doesn't matter whether you've got one out there playing or a grandson or a kid playing. If you want to get out and you want to get out of the house and come have some fun and share your skills with these young boys and girls, that's what it's all about. So, hey, get off your duff and come on out and have some fun, because you're right, Derek, it takes a big number out there. And, man, I cannot tell you enough about, especially the first time you see that one little kid run the right way or even hit one out in the outfield, and then that smile. You've seen it too many times. You know what I'm talking about, buddy.
For sure.
And of course, Derek, we've talked about all the great things that this youth league offers. The one thing we haven't said yet is how to sign up. Of course, registration begins today. It runs through February 12th. But for all the fans, the families, the listeners out there that might want to get involved, maybe they just want to volunteer coach, or they've got a young one in their family that they want to sign up, how can they get it done?
Correct. So starting today, you can go to our website, majesticpark.org, and you can register there. The information for assisting the coach is on your registration. There'll be a little red tab when you open the majesticpark.org page. There'll be a red tab for youth registration. You click on that, it can take you to your registration. You can put in your registration if you want to help coach or not. And another thing that's really important, I want everyone to know about, is scholarship information is on there as well. The bigger our league gets, the more kids apply for scholarships, and you have to meet a certain criteria to get a scholarship, but that information is on the registration as well. And so you go to majesticpark.org and sign up, and also on the website is my email address and my phone number. So if you get stuck on anything or have a problem or a question, anybody, feel free to call or email or text, whatever, and I'll help you through that.
Hey, and I guess one of the big questions is Well, how long is the season? When does it start? Because you got kids that are going to be getting out of school and vacations and stuff like that. What's our season schedule?
Well, we're going to kick off with registration, and then our first coaches meeting is February 10th at 6 o'clock at Out of the Park. That's the VRBO across the street.
Right.
The season itself will start March 30th and end at the very latest June 12th. And all that information, important dates for skills tests and drafts and the season, it'll be on the registration as well as on our Facebook page regularly. We try to keep that really current and rotating in with a lot of current information. You can find that on there on our website. But that information is that's the places you can find those important dates.
Derek, something about January feels like a clean slate, that new beginning at the start of the year. We're so impressed with the way that this ballpark has continued to grow. Of course, I know on my end, I'm very thankful for that beautiful press box over at Babe Ruth, because with National Park College baseball right around the corner, I know that I'm not going to be outside freezing in the elements. I might be a little bit for softball over at Hank Aaron. So if you guys want to add another press box over there, I won't be unhappy with that. But all jokes aside, thank you so much for everything that you're doing for this community and communities outside our community. Great things to come for Majestic Park this year.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate y'all's interest and passion for what we do down there, and I'm really thankful we can get the word out. And again, majesticpark.org. Sign up today through February 12th. And anybody, feel free to call me at 501-359-2414. I'll help any way I can.
Derek Phillips of Majestic Park. More to come on Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition. He's Tracy Simpson. I'm Mark Oliver. We're back in a moment on 92.9 KVRE.
Second quarter coming up.
And we're back, Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition, 92.9 KVRE. He's Tracy. I'm Mark. Tracy, the NFL postseason picture, it's here. It's fully developed. We shook that Polaroid picture here, and it came out maybe not quite as we expected. There's some teams in there that are probably pretty lucky to play a little bit more football this season, but some big matchups all weekend long. It literally came down to the final play of the final regular season game. River Oliver's Baltimore Ravens, a field goal to win it. Wide right. Now the coach is out. Rumor is that Tyler Loop is going to be out as kicker. Will Lamar stay? A lot of questions, but we're not going to dive in there. We're going to dive into the teams that have made it. We start with our first game later today. Two teams that nobody saw playing against each other. The LA Rams on the road as a wild card team. Where are they? They're going to North Carolina.
Yeah,
they're going to North Carolina, Tracy. They're taking on the Panthers. The Panthers sneak in.
I'm tasting it. I'm drinking it.
They're a sub-500 team. They snuck in. Fun fact, they lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then they both sit and watch the Falcons play the Saints in a meaningless game, and Carolina gets an early Christmas present. They're into the postseason for the first time in a while, but the obvious question, can Carolina's defense slow down that explosive passing game with Stafford and Nacua? Or is this really just a minor speed bump on the way for LA to go take on Seattle?
Okay. And next time, whoever the smarty guy is, leave your name, okay? Because we've got the area.
He's talking about our fan feedback,
Yeah.
on our text line. We get... So we have the text line, 501-915-1300, but what so many people may not know is that all we see is a phone number. We don't see your name. We don't see where you're from. So if you got something, they might not want to, Tracy. Maybe their takes are too hot.
Well, there's one particular. He was spot on. He was spot on, needing Atlanta to lose for Carolina to win. And sure enough, the scenario set up perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot better than the field goal kick for the Ravens. Oh, did I go there?
Look, my team is in. In fact, in our household, me and my wife, Hannah, her favorite team is the Carolina Panthers, and the Chicago Bears are in. So our kids are upset. We are marginally happy. We're not very hopeful, but we're technically happy that they made it. But all right, Rams, Panthers. Is there a chance?
No.
No.
Not at all.
But cool that they made it. Probably saved a job out there. A lot of injuries for this Carolina squad. I think it's very surprising, perhaps, that LA fell down to a deep wild card spot. But look, the NFC West, 3 teams made it. One of them is the number 1 overall seed. I still really like the Rams, not just in this matchup, but later on. We'll break down our actual Super Bowl predictions at the end of this segment. Okay, so we got Rams over Panthers. Fine, second game, Packers at Bears. So Chicago is in. They turned the season around. I think they did +6 on their wins from a year ago. Caleb Williams' playoff debut comes against the Packers in a classic rivalry showdown. These two teams split the regular season series. Chicago edged Green Bay in overtime in their last meeting, and game 1 was only a 7-point victory for Green Bay. Jordan Love, maybe less than 100% as the QB for Green Bay. Regardless, this one is expected to be close. It's in Chicago at Soldier Field. Bears-Packers, who do you have?
Okay, I'm going to back up here just for a real quick second, Mark, because this reminds me of Moneyball. Somebody was doing the numbers over at the Rams. I'll be honest with you. Because if something could have happened the other course with the Rams winning and such, I think I'd rather have played Green Bay right now, to be honest with you, than Carolina. Carolina's, for what it's worth, they're, if you want to call it on a roll, call it whatever you want to call it. But, I think because like you said, Jordan Love, I don't know, he's not 100%. There ain't no way.
He may not have to be.
Well, he better be something because the Bears are going to just absolutely roll over them.
These two teams just played not too long ago. Jordan Love was still not 100% in that game, forced overtime. This is without Micah Parsons as well. This is post Micah Parsons' ACL injury. So even without those two big pieces at the ready, Green Bay still somehow at least tries to have Chicago's number, maybe has it dialed up in the phone, just needs to hit send. This will be closer. It's got me nervous as a Chicago Bears fan. Glad my team made the playoffs. Spoiler alert, I don't think Chicago's going to win it all this year, but Caleb Williams looking really, really good. Those receivers looking really, really good. I think the Bears have to lean on their defense. Chicago's late season surge, the turnaround all began with takeaways and pressure. They need both to win this one. Home field advantage plays a large part in the NFL postseason, and I do believe the Bears can get it done, but it will be uncomfortably close for this Bears fan.
Mark, what concerns me is the way that Caleb Williams, as well as he's played, sort of lackluster performance in that last game. I mean, who is he throwing to on a couple of those? I didn't understand that.
I know. We see this a lot with some of these postseason teams, the teams that are in the dance losing their final regular season game. And I get it.
Trust me, I know.
They're already in. Look, I know they're trying to avoid injury, and they're playing, other players, and you got third-string QBs and stuff like that. But you don't really see these teams actively trying to be competitive in these games to be postseason ready. It's more of just trying to dodge the injury bullet, so to speak. So, I wasn't impressed with the Bears' effort there. It raises a lot of questions going into this. Are they going to be ready? It's been a while. Are there going to be nerves and jitters? This is the postseason debut for your somewhat new to the league quarterback here. There's a lot of questions. And I think there's a lot of reasonable doubt that you can have in this organization as well. Fine, they turned it around. There was kind of a weird season in the NFC North, plagued with injuries. Detroit, of course, lost a coach, went to Chicago, played a big picture there. But so Detroit was down. Minnesota was down after losing Darnold. Green Bay's had the injuries and the weird tie thing to the Cowboys. So, I think that winning the division is not necessarily a true definition of this was an elite team here.
Right.
So I don't know. So comes down to brass tacks. Packers, Bears.
I'm still going with Chicago. I think, like you said, I'm going to go with one initiative on this.
Yeah.
At home.
Okay.
At home. I'm going to tell you. I mean, if weather's not going to. I mean, weather is going to be bad.
Yeah.
It's going to be freezing. But that doesn't bother
both teams
these
are
guys.
used to this.
Is nothing. But I'm going to take one out of your book. When it comes down to the bottom line, throw the records out, throw whatever.
Oh, you have to.
And so this is what I say last week.
This isn't
what
2
division
versus. This isn't 2 versus 7.
It's black and blue division.
This is the black and blue division.
Okay,
That's right.
And what scares me is whoever comes out of this is going to be banged up, even if they win. And I'm not saying I'm sort of Rams, and then because whatever Green Bay wins, they have to go. If the Rams win, they got to go down there. So if it's a toss up, I'm going with the Bears. I'm just saying.
I'm going with the Bears here
Bears.
as well. Let's kick it to the AFC. Sunday's slated game starts with a very juicy matchup. The Bills at the Jaguars. Buffalo entering kind of hot. Jacksonville, maybe a little bit of a shaky finish there, but it's Josh Allen versus your favorite quarterback in the world, Trevor Lawrence. That might be the headline, but the real key here, I think, is going to go down to the defense. Will we see the return of the Saxonville Jaguars in turnovers and interceptions? Buffalo leads the AFC in takeaways down the stretch. This is Josh Allen's time to shine. Lamar Jackson is out. Patrick Mahomes is out. The AFC, their top competition might be Drake May for the New England Patriots here. This has to be the moment for this Bills franchise. If the road is this wide open and they can't get it done, I think serious things need to happen in Buffalo. With all of that said, this is no surprise to anybody. I really like Jacksonville this year. I've said it since basically week 1 of the season, and I'm going to stay with that here. Now, it's not going to be a cakewalk for the Jags here. And yeah, even though they are the home team and they are the higher seed, throw the records out. Here's what I think needs to happen in order for Jacksonville to get a huge playoff upset as a home team. Travis Etienne, the running back, he's got to get going early. A functional run game for Jacksonville will keep Buffalo's pass rush honest. The running game sets up the pass and lets TL shine brightly. Now for the Bills, they got to protect the football and they have to hold on to the football. Simplest way to keep Jacksonville from scoring is to keep them off the football field. If you force Trevor Lawrence into those long yardage downs, if you win first and second down and force 3rd and 10 or 3rd and even longer, that's when Jacksonville starts to show the cracks in their armor. So for Buffalo, it comes down to defense. And for Jacksonville, I think really leaning heavily on a run offense supplemented by the pass and not vice versa could have Jacksonville moving on to the next round.
I've tried to avoid Jacksonville as long as I can, but you've sort of trending me in that direction. I'll be honest with you. It has nothing against TL. I'll just be honest with you. It's Jackson, the Jaguars. But Josh Allen. Come on, Josh Allen.
I know.
Josh Allen.
Look, the reigning MVP, he's about as good as it gets. James Cook just had a very intense, very successful season as a running back for Buffalo, setting a record last week. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good game. And it's sad that both teams can't move on.
Well, and we talked about this, I think 2 weeks ago. Josh, they're going to put the rush on him, no doubt. Okay, they're going to put the rush on him.
They're going to harass him. Absolutely.
But Cook coming out of the backfield, how many times has he released to him? How many times? Mm-hmm. How many times have you seen that? It's basically a running game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a run.
Yeah, right.
It's just a 10-foot pass.
Yep.
And then Cook does the rest. I
mean,
and he's going to do that same thing. So if they don't spy somebody out there on Cook coming out of the backfield, which it's going to be tough anyway to keep up with him, even with a safety, it's going to be tough to keep up with them. They've done it all year long. So, and that's the only reason I'm saying, and even at the point, now the points are 52 right now sitting up. Mm-hmm. I think they're even going to go over that.
Yeah.
I would go the over.
Could be a high scoring game.
I would go the over and now, of course, another thing is the turnover. What Josh Allen's going to show up. TL's been pretty good about that as of late. I mean, what do you have? 3 touchdowns 2 weeks ago, 4 touchdowns the other day. And, of course, they haven't played a defense like the Bills right now. So I'm going the over, and I'm going Bills.
Going Bills. I got to go with the Jags.
I know you do.
I'm riding the Jags. I'll tell you just how far here in a moment. Let's wrap up these games here. Hey, 49ers at Eagles. Boy, what a heavyweight matchup here in the NFC. The reigning Super Bowl champs might be on the ropes here against one of the most proficient running offenses in the league, period. It's Christian McCaffrey versus Saquon Barkley.
MVP.
Yeah, Tracy called it last week. He thinks McCaffrey is his MVP. The Eagles, the jury's been out on the reigning champs all season long. It seems like they've lost a little bit of touch. Jalen Hurts hasn't been the same guy. Of course, Barkley came back down to earth a little bit, and no more video game numbers there. I think the Eagles have to win those early downs in the game, protect the edges here. And San Francisco, well, you already know what they're going to do. They're going to dominate the running game here. McCaffrey's going to set the tone, open up that offense, and defensively trying to pressure Jalen Hurts. Hey, he's mistake prone. He's human. And when that blitz comes in, that's when things begin to be possible when you're the 49ers defense here. Flip a coin, or do you think this one is a little bit more cut and dry than it looks on paper?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I think that either one that comes out of this, it's going to be similar fashion to the game we talked about earlier. They're going to be so beat up because it's going to be a physical game.
Yes, it will.
There's no doubt about this. And this is no finesse whatsoever. We've seen what the offense for Philadelphia's done lately. Nothing, against real teams. And we know, well, just the way San Francisco wins games, they beat up on people. That's the way they do. Now, they're hurting in the linebacker core right now. That could be something for Barkley, because if he ever gets into that pattern and he breaks that line of scrimmage, you got to have somebody that can contain. And right now, that's the only suspect area that if anybody with 49ers right now is their linebacker core right now. And that's going to be a tough one. Offense is going to score. I think the odds are going towards Philadelphia, of course, because they're in Philadelphia. Knockdown, drag out.
I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game.
No, it's going to. I mean, they got it at 46. I think I'm going to say low.
No, way under.
I'm
in my opinion.
Under in San Fran.
I think it's going to come down to a lot of field goals here. I do believe.
I'm under in San Fran.
You got the two best running backs in the game, period, going head-to-head. I think it's going to come down to kickers in the end. I like Philadelphia in this one. Just barely at home. This game's in San Fran.
Yeah.
I'm switching sides.
Well,
this is in Philly, the most hostile place on this entire planet right now. Probably in the NFL stadium, at least.
More than snowballs they're going to be throwing at them, I promise you.
All right. How about Chargers and Patriots here? Justin Herbert versus Drake May. New England riding a top-tier defense in the postseason. L.A. boasting some pretty explosive talent from the skill positions here. Feels like a coaching chess match here. Can the Chargers protect long enough to push the ball downfield and take down the New England Patriots?
Mark, I'm going to tell you what. I really started paying attention to New England after you were on that bandwagon for a long time. And
yeah,
I started watching some of their play. These guys are playing with some finesse right now.
Yes, they are.
They are really skilled at where they're at. I don't care. You can tell that quarterback that he hadn't been in the league long enough, but other people will tell you different. The guy does not look like a rookie. But here's the deal: everybody around him in his own little circle are making him look better because they're just that. They're skilled. Mm-hmm. And defense, well, you got a defensive coach already and the head coach. So, I mean, I just don't see anything. And the Chargers, after that lackluster performance I don't have faith. And nothing against their quarterback.
I love Justin Herbert.
I do too. I mean, he just seems to, in the big games, he just seems to come unglued. And
it's not just him either.
Well, no, it's the surroundings.
You're not wrong, but it's not just him. Of course, I'm an Oregon Ducks fan. I love Justin Herbert, but I look at his core. I look at Keenan Allen, a veteran wide receiver who returns back to L.A. this year and had some flashes of brilliance this year, but was mostly kept in check and has been a nothing burger. Here's what I'm worried about as a Charger. If I'm looking at the Chargers in this one, I'm looking at their pass rush defense, because they're not going to be able to protect Herbert the way that New England's going to be coming at him, blitzing over and over and over. That offensive line for the Chargers, I don't have confidence in it right now. And I think that is the X factor in this ball game. You protect Herbert, you allow him to shine. Yeah, they got a chance against New England. But if that falls apart quickly, which I expected probably to early in this contest, I think this one can get ugly and out of hand fast.
Well, as it is right now, Chargers were one of the top sack teams in the league already. And now in these particular teams that are in the playoffs, they are the number one sack team.
Yeah.
Okay. So you tell me, and then you add that on top, the way New England blitzes, all right, 2 out of 4 plays. That brings a lot of heat. 2 out of 4 plays.
Yeah.
What team does that?
Right.
Well, a coach that's a defensive coach.
A coach with something to prove also.
And so we'll see what happens. But I think actually 3.5 with England is shortcomings. I'll be honest with you. I think they're going to blow them out.
Monday night, Texans and Steelers. You're talking about a juicy matchup here, Tracy. Wow. Some epic defenses going head to head here. Aaron Rodgers gets into the postseason on a missed field goal kick. CJ Stroud trying to prove that the Texans are the real deal. He doesn't have to prove very much. They are the real deal. Just look at their season. This one should be a good one. It's in Pittsburgh. Clash of 2 of the best defenses in the league.
Yeah, but I think Pittsburgh's banged up.
They are.
I think Houston, I think they're going to. Sorry, Aaron Rodgers, you're 38, 39, 380, whatever you are.
I think it's 42.
Whatever. You know what I'm saying. I was trying to give the guy benefit of the doubt.
No.
And you saw him when he was trying to run out of the flats and was going to try to hit the flag on like
Yeah.
he used to.
Yeah, right,
and,
right.
And a D lineman ran him down.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. No, Houston's got the number one defense, and there's a reason why. Because they penetrate, they get on the quarterback, and I'm sorry. Not only are they going to get sacks, but watch, I think he's going to throw some interceptions too.
No one wants to play against the Houston Texans right
Nobody
now.
does right
no
now.
one in this league. You even have the Seahawks and the Broncos, who obviously we're not mentioning this week.
Right.
Nobody wants to play this team right now, and certainly not Pittsburgh. They're glad that they're in. It's probably the final hurrah for Aaron Rodgers. He might go into the sunset. He might just go chill in a dark room after this one.
He got lucky.
I don't know, but he's at least going to end his career making the postseason by defeating Pittsburgh's biggest rival, although it's not his biggest rival. Not a whole lot of skin in the fight there, but I think that Pittsburgh, Mike Tomlin finds a way. He always finds a way to get into the dance. I think it's the end of the road for the Steelers.
I got to give him some props, though, on that last drive that he did with only 56 seconds left. I got to give him props on. Now, the bonehead play with the kickoff and everything and the penalty, that was beyond comprehension. A professional guy doing that kind of stuff. I mean, you're in the pros and you do bonehead stuff to give the other team that close. But anyway, I got to give props to Rodgers for what he did.
All right, we've got to wrap up this segment, so we're going to make this brief here. I want you to tell me the two teams. Actually, I'm going to write it down real quick.
Write it down.
I'm going to write it down right now because I know you won't believe me. I'm going to write down my two teams. There's my NFC. There's my AFC. I'm circling my Super Bowl winner. Done. Okay. I want you to tell me the two teams that are going to make the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to have you tell me who's going to win the Super Bowl whenever you're ready.
Denver, Chicago. Denver wins.
You did pick Denver to win the Super Bowl at the beginning of the season.
Yes, I did.
So you're going with the pick. Chicago. You're just trying to butter me up. You don't actually believe that Chicago's going to make it. You don't actually believe that. Okay, well, I did pick the Ravens and the Eagles to go all the way to the Super Bowl this year.
Sticking with the
I picked the Ravens to win at the beginning of the season. I picked the Ravens to win, I think, or the Eagles. I can't remember. Either way, neither of those teams are in my final prediction here. I have the LA Rams.
Yeah.
And I have the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, stop
I
it.
do. I have the LA Rams winning it all this year. I do.
I really had
We'll
LA.
find out
I
very
just
soon.
put you-
We'll find out in a few hours if I'm wrong.
I did LA, but I just butter you up a little bit, man.
I see
it's
through
the
your
Bears.
lies.
It's the Bears.
I mean, it'd be great. It'd be really great, but it probably won't happen in my lifetime. All right, that's our segment. We'll be back in just a moment. Stick with us. Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition on 92.9 KVRE.
Third quarter coming up.
Tracy, we're back. Big basketball game happening down in Alabama later today. Arkansas and Auburn. Have you seen the predictions coming out for this one all week long? I thought this was very, very interesting in this one. Arkansas sitting with just 3 losses on the year, some very strong wins and losses to some pretty elite competition. Let's be honest, Michigan State, Duke, and Houston. Arkansas heading into the Tiger Den, if you will. Massive underdogs in this one in Auburn. Auburn a 63% favorite to win at home, despite being winless in SEC play. Your thoughts here?
Well, I mean, I thought that exactly after they went to Ole Miss and took care of business, you would expect a little bit more respect, but no, not at all. And they've had troubles, and I think what they're going off of is what Arkansas's had trouble going to Auburn and winning, period. And I think that's what they're basing on. Now, if that's solely what it is, and then, of course, back-to-back road games also, okay? So that's something that, SEC play is tough. And they mentioned this earlier, too, though, before they even won at Ole Miss, that anytime you go on the road twice in SEC play, 50-50 is about what you can expect. But I don't see that with this team. You and I talked about this early in the season, and you just now mentioned it. The 3 games that they lost were very respectable teams that are in the top 15 still, and the 2 of them that are still in the top 10. Well, look, this team ain't the same team that was back in the 1st of December. By no means. They're starting to gel a little bit better. And, of course, the play from the freshmen, not only Acuff, but all, they're really starting to get into their own pattern. You and I talked about, nothing in the paint coming. Well, now Brazil and the rest of them are starting to bully a little bit in there and show their stuff. So I think they're starting to gel. But now, if you're asking me, no respect. Aretha Franklin got it right. It's just that simple. And I think that they're going to go in there this afternoon and changes everybody's opinion after they come out from that one.
Auburn coming off of back-to-back losses, of course, the overtime loss at Georgia, and of course the heartbreaker against Texas A&M. Shot didn't get off in time. Texas A&M holds on to win. Certainly a tough place to play. We all know that for sure. Arkansas trying to stay unbeaten in SEC play and trying to surge behind one of the nation's most explosive offenses. You mentioned a lot of names. One name I want to mention, Darius Acuff Jr., the freshman, really standing out strong here whenever. I don't know that the world may have expected to see that level of production out of a freshman. Had a chance to watch his post-game interview after the Tennessee game. Seems like a really down-to-earth young man, averaging 19.9 points per game, 6.2 assists per game. He stretches the floor well, and I think it'll be a large part of the key to victory for Arkansas in this one. The Razorbacks are at their best when this game is fast and free-flowing, and they control the tempo. I mean, averaging 90.5 points per game is one of the top marks in the country. We know Auburn can score as well, but with the rise of Acuff and with the proven track record of Brazile out there, Arkansas has multiple options now to push in transition defensively, forcing Auburn to make some tough situations happen here, force them out to the perimeter and basically say, hey, look, you're going to take the three ball. If you make it, you make it, but we're going to control what happens down low in the paint. Auburn does have a couple of pretty elite scorers in the guard matchup here with Pettiford and Hall. But like I said, the freshmen for Arkansas have been something spectacular so far this year. Acuff Jr. had that 29-point SEC debut versus Tennessee. Malik Thomas continues to be a matchup problem with his size, his shot-making abilities. If Arkansas's guard play can win the efficiency battle, and I'm talking about in terms of, make a high percentage of shots that you take, I think the Hogs control this game, and maybe this is going to be the narrative all season long, rising up over what you might view as disrespect and embracing the underdog mentality. Auburn has more losses than Arkansas, yes. Outside of A&M, who is not ranked, you can also make the argument they've lost to elite competition. They've lost to Houston. They've lost to a number 2 ranked Arizona team. One thing that I did see, though, I always look for common ground between opponents, especially when it comes to SEC play. Both of these teams have played Queens University as of recent. And of course, I know when Arkansas went to play Queens, we're like, why are they playing this team? Why are they playing this team? Similar output in terms of the offensive points scored, but I think most notable in this one is Arkansas's ability defensively to hold Queens University to fewer points here in the margin of victory.
Yeah, and here's another item that I thought was interesting. Also, if you look at the difference in the scoring percentage and their shot capabilities and stuff like that, you're seeing Auburn getting off. They're not much in the paint. They're not much in the paint at all. They're having to do those elbow shots and the 15 to 18 range,
the mid range.
And if they do get off some 3-pointers, of course, that's just a bonus for them. And they're more guard play. And I think matching 1-on-1, because I think I think Arkansas right now is number 1 in steals. But I think that right now, that's the only thing that really scares me is that with the guard play that Auburn has, is keeping the rock away from Arkansas, because Arkansas is one of the fastest teams, I think, in turnaround points in the nation, not just in SEC, but in the nation.
That's
I think
right.
They're number 2. So that's the only thing that scares me is hiding the rock and keeping it and them extending the play, so to speak. I don't think they'll get second shots off because of our rebounding, which we're getting much better at. But that's the only thing I think of is that their guard play is a little bit more experienced as far as SEC play. And not that our 2 freshmen aren't outstanding, like you said. There's nothing. Acuff is obviously, I don't want to say this, but one and done. But, I mean, the guy's already making a mark already. You know that, no pun intended. But I think that's the only thing maybe they're looking at is that their guard play is a little bit more experienced in the SEC play. That's the only otherwise, Mark, I really don't see the deal. And on the road, too.
Well,
SEC, you're playing on the road.
Well,
man.
Auburn does have that 6th man of everybody else in the stands. We know that Auburn's home court is one of the loudest in the SEC, and that's a challenge for Arkansas as well. We talk about embracing being the underdog. The nation and the polls and the percentages, they're all counting you out on the road here. So what you have to do is you have to tune out the noise on both levels, nationally and in the building as well. avoid those early turnovers, get to the free throw line. Arkansas shoots 74% from the line as a team. It's pretty good. And if you want to quiet a raucous, loud, maybe even potentially annoying crowd, that's how you do it. You do it from the free throw line. You prove to them that you are mentally strong. You can't be shaken. And that's what you do. You do it by example, not with your words, not with your emotions. You got to keep everything in check here. Go out there and just play basketball. Apples to apples, both of these teams fairly even in the rebounding battle, but Auburn is a tough place to win. If you give up second chance points, you've got to limit Auburn to just one shot. They don't mind going in and getting down low, getting their hands dirty. They don't mind fighting for offensive rebounds and potentially putting their opponent into foul trouble. Brazile and even Pringle for Arkansas, they've got to stay out of foul trouble. Coach Cal needs all of his weapons late into this game. We factored this to be a very close game all the way down to the wire. You can't get 2 fouls early in the first half and sit. Okay. That is where and for each team, really, but that is where the runs are going to begin. You got to start strong and physical, yes, but you also have to have the restraint to make sure that you're making the right decision and not putting your team in jeopardy.
Mark, another thing that I know you're going to see this too, the percentage of the three-pointer that Arkansas is making right now, can they sustain that? I mean, they're at the highest rate that they've had percentage-wise in 20 years. Now, that's going back a few, and you think of some of the three-ballers that we had all through those years. But they've got a higher percentage right now, and they're throwing up the rock, and they're doing it in a convincing way. And another thing, what we saw last year was a lot of games lost at the very end.
Yes.
And this year, with Ole Miss considering that game, they sustained it. Ole Miss made the big run. They got within, 4? And then all of a sudden, like you were talking about, the high percentage at the foul line, that's where they're coming out and making the buckets, where last year they just didn't do it. And I think that's going to, if anything, like you said, they're going to get after it. They're going to play down and dirty, and they're going to challenge Arkansas at every phase. And if we can make our buckets, and if we can sustain that same percentage-wise on three-pointers, I think that's going to be the difference. Because when you shoot those threes, you got to come out and guard them. And when you do, that means somebody's down low in the paint.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And in Auburn, I don't want to say they're weak on the perimeter defense, but they are a little bit soft, whereas they allow other teams to kind of control the perimeter, where their defensive focus is more on protecting the rim. Now, Arkansas, like you said, isn't a high volume three-point shooting team. They don't shoot a whole lot, but they shoot whenever they feel confident about it. They make a higher percentage because they take smarter shots here. Auburn typically allows opponents to shoot nearly 30% from deep. It's not elite numbers, but it is exploitable for Arkansas here. Now, outside of what we call clutch time, which is really the final 5 minutes of the second half, this is where Arkansas can put its pedal to the metal and extend leads. Or if the Razorbacks are trailing, this is where that they can kind of close those gaps and get back into the fight. Auburn isn't really going to press and put multiple men on the perimeter. I'm talking about 3 to 4 men on the perimeter until they really have to in man coverage. So throughout the first 35 minutes of the ball game, that is an exploitable piece. Got to take smart shots. Arkansas has proven that they are able to do that. I'm looking at a lot of production from the three-point line in this one.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, but like you said earlier, though, we've got to take those, just what they've been doing, the high percentage shots, and you got to stick with it. But we've got to rebound, if nothing else, because we're going to play a fast pace. Now, one thing they do is they play a lot of bench. They do that.
They do.
And so we're going to see if that's going to match up to our fast pace, because that's the only way you can do it. You can, they'll tire out those other guys, and I don't think Arkansas comes away with this. Real quick question to you though, and before we get out of this segment, if they got the top ones, is Vanderbilt not getting any respect again? As far as, I mean, what is going on there? We're talking SEC right now, real quick, but one of the few that's undefeated, and so I just a real quick survey of that: Arizona, Michigan, Iowa State, all up there, and but Vanderbilt, once again, was almost like their football team. No respect.
It's exactly like that. Now, to be fair, I mean, 1 through 10 is pretty incredible
Pretty
right now.
salty. They're salty.
And it's full of proven track records, your career guys, your career teams out there, the usual suspects,
Right.
if you will. So it is kind of difficult for a Vanderbilt team who's really surging to find that place in the top 10. They can only play who's in front of them.
Right.
You know, they can't manipulate the schedule at this time. But if you ask me right now, if you ask Vanderbilt right now, they're willing to play anybody in the top 10. Hey, please come play us. We'll come to you.
Yeah, I mean, I just know that they got a lot of returning seniors and stuff. That's just for future.
It's only the
talk, I
second
know.
time in school history that Vanderbilt started the season 14-0. I think it was the 2007-2008 season when they started 16-0. Looking at a career year for Vanderbilt, and as a school and as an athletics program, Vanderbilt certainly very much on the rise for a team traditionally, when I look at all sports, maybe outside of baseball, usually toward the lower tier of SEC play.
Yeah, mediocre, nothing else. They prove their points in academics. Trust me. On
Sure,
that one.
sure.
Trust me. Yeah, that's a good one.
All right, we're going to take a break. Local Roundup coming your way next. Don't go anywhere. Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition continues in a moment on 92.9 KVRE.
Fourth quarter coming up.
And we're back. Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition 92.9 KVRE, live online at kvre.com and on iHeartRadio with Tracy Simpson. I'm Mark Oliver. Tracy, big news coming out of National Park College Nighthawk baseball. Of course, the athletic director and head baseball coach Rich Thompson had him on our show just before the holiday break, and moving on to greener pastures with the Seattle Mariners organization, being a minor league manager. And that means there's a new opening at NPC. The Nighthawk Nation has selected its new interim head baseball coach this week, Cole Rodriguez. The Texas native, the former Nighthawk pitcher and infielder, returns to lead the program that he once represented on the field. A graduate of University of Toledo and Henderson State University, Rodriguez served as an assistant coach during fall ball this year and really as the recruiting coordinator for NPC, playing a key role in player development, roster building, and the continued growth of the program. And had a chance to introduce Coach Rodriguez to the media this week. And he's a younger guy, just fresh right out of college. He was just playing college ball a season ago, and very, very excited to hit the ground running with NPC. Of course, first baseball game of the season coming up towards the end of January. 19 days away, January 29th. It's a Thursday out at Majestic Park. They'll take on Philander Smith University. The Coach Rodriguez era begins at NPC.
I think it's great for the commitment that he's had already being a part of the program, and it shows the consistency that NPC has as far as following suit and bringing him up through the ranks. We know his time at NPC, and then Toledo, then Henderson. He stayed in focus. He stayed around the area, and being formerly a pitcher and such like that, he can go after some of those kids around here local, and he knows talent. Obviously, he's been in the programs around the country, and so he knows what's going on. And I think it's a good hire for now. We'll see what happens with it. I know he's enthusiastic, a go-getter, and you've been around him more than anybody. So, he's one of those guys, and he's a team player, and the kids love him. I think that right there says in itself what it's all about. Everybody's in on him.
Tracy, I may be getting old because, just a few years ago, Cole Rodriguez was a student athlete at NPC, and he really stood out to me as a pitcher because he throws really, really hard, very passionate about the game. You can tell when we've been around youth athletes and high school athletes and collegiate players pretty much all of our lives at this point. You can tell who's got that X factor, that because, traditionally after your playing career, you go into broadcasting or you go into coaching or sports management or even sports medicine, things like that. You can tell who has that X factor. Cole Rodriguez always had that X factor. And of course, joining the coaching staff for Nighthawk baseball this year is also another former Nighthawk, Peyton Wyndham, former Nighthawk pitcher, went on to the University of Central Arkansas. His biggest claim to fame is he played against number one in the nation, Vanderbilt. And won. Absolutely. And of course, Jeremy Shork also joins from Henderson State University fame. Shork, a absolute home run slugger in the record books for Henderson State University. And I mentioned Cole Rodriguez. He is too. You know, I keep the official record book, and I have the top 10 list of every statistic for every Nighthawk sport. Even to this day, I believe it's 5 years later since he played for the Nighthawks. Cole Rodriguez still top 10 in strikeouts at NPC.
Well, I mean, think of that. You think of pitchers, he had that stature. You know, he still has it to this day.
Yes.
I mean, that length, that, you know,
yes.
And just could really sling it close to that 100 miles an hour and just really bring it at you. And but also he's got the smarts too. I mean, obviously a master's in sports management and such, you know. So, hey, by no means somebody that just in the backyard, you know, throwing the rock around. This he's got potential, and I think the kids are going to gravitate to him. And I think he can also get some players. It's a biggie.
Absolutely. He had a chance to meet with the team this week. And, you know, a lot can happen whenever you lose a head coach right there before the start of the season. You know, a team can absolutely just simply fold it up. But bringing in those former Nighthawks, of course, Rodriguez was already with the team as an assistant. He knows these guys. And the staff is a little bit on the younger side. I think having that little bit of a change in dynamic was important, I think, really to keep everybody in. NPC didn't lose any student athletes over the break, even with the coaching change.
No, I think it's going to work out just fine. And once again, I'll reiterate, he knows the area.
Yes.
And so he can go call it, and they already know who he is. And I think that's
Congratulations to Coach and the Nighthawks. Of course, you can find the full schedule online, np.edu/athletics. Great show this week, Tracy. We're here every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on 92.9 KVRE. You can text the show at any time, 501-915-1300. For Tracy Simpson, I'm Mark Oliver. We'll see you next week.
Game over.